Hello everyone, my name is Lieutenant Kassie Cain, and my husband Josh and I are the officers or pastors here at the Salvation Army High Point Community Church. Now this is only our second Christmas here, and our second Christmas as pastors as we began our ministry last summer. Now last Christmas, we were still getting our bearings a little bit. We were new to the city, newly married, new to the church, and new to this whole pastor thing, and we were still figuring out what we were doing. Now we made it through the season and we had a lovely Christmas, but I often talked about next year. I was so excited for what was to come. Now I specifically remember one day in early January, Josh and I were upstairs putting away the Christmas decorations, and as I packed them away and organized them, I couldn't wait to pull them out again. I had this whole plan for how I would decorate the church, what events we would hold, and what our Christmas Eve service would look like. I had so much anticipation and excitement for the future. But of course, as we know, 2020 didn't go as anyone had planned or expected. And so we haven't had any Christmas events, and we won't be holding an in-person Christmas Eve service. And those decorations are still upstairs in their boxes, with the exception of this tree, which I just put up last night for the purpose of this video. So to say that our current circumstances are not at all what I was expecting would be an understatement. And to be honest, it has left me feeling disappointed, sad, and pretty weary. And if you can relate to that, let me share just a little piece of this Christmas story that gives me some hope in these disappointing and difficult circumstances. In Luke 2, we are introduced to some shepherds out in their field at night, keeping watch over their sheep. Now, the Bible doesn't give us any background information on these shepherds, but we do know that the life of a shepherd wasn't easy. They had a hard job, keeping sheep safe from predators, and they weren't well respected by the society around them. They were often pushed to the margins or disregarded. Their circumstances were likely hard and pretty disappointing. But then Christmas came and everything changed, right? God sent an angel to them with good news of great joy. They were invited to go and see a baby that had been born, a baby that would bring the rescue and an answer to God's promises. Now, these shepherds have an incredible night, but then the Bible tells us at the end of the night, they just return to their field. These shepherds go back to being shepherds. They return to their field and likely to their hard circumstances. But if you look at Luke 2 verse 20, the Bible tells us that they didn't just return. They returned glorifying God for all they had heard and seen. These shepherds go to the same circumstances, but they don't go back the same. Something has changed. These shepherds heard good news, that God has sent a Savior and that He is fulfilling His promises to His people. And not only have they heard this good news, but they've seen the baby. They've seen proof, and this changes everything. Christmas reminds us that even if our difficult circumstances don't change, we can find joy because God has come to earth bringing good news for everyone. The shepherds were changed by what they heard and what they saw, and so I invite us to listen and to look, to see our Emmanuel, God with us. Friends, if 2020 has left you weary, then please know you're in good company. It's been a hard year, and I know that many of us are disappointed. But just as God sent good news to shepherds in a field, He brings good news to us where we're at. And this good news reminds us that we can experience joy even in our weariness. Although our circumstances may not change, we can have hope and joy knowing that God has come and He has overcome the darkness. I wish you so much joy, and I pray that you will hear and see all that God has for you in this season.